What if the very definition of beauty you were taught to believe in was never real to begin with? What if everything the magazines, runways, and screens told you about perfection was just a reflection of fear? The fear of being different, the fear of being yourself. In a world where filters rule and insecurities grow in silence, there comes a woman who chooses to stand tall, curves and all, reminding the world that confidence is the finest outfit anyone can wear. That woman is Sophie Hall, the curvy sensation who redefined the language of beauty with nothing but self-belief, grace, and unapologetic authenticity. Sophie Hall did not begin her journey on a glamorous runway or inside a top modeling agency. She started just like many of us, an ordinary young woman growing up in the United Kingdom, looking for her place in a world obsessed with perfection. From a young age, she was aware of the quiet pressure that lingered in every mirror, every magazine, and every whispered comparison. Society often praised a very narrow kind of beauty, leaving little space for those who looked different. But Sophie was never one to shrink into the shadows. Even as a child, she carried a sense of individuality that refused to be silenced. She grew up in a warm but modest environment, surrounded by the lessons of kindness, hard work, and empathy. Her early years shaped her understanding of authenticity and strength. Like many young girls, she struggled with body image, questioning whether she fit into the world's standards. Yet deep down, she carried a spark, an inner voice that told her she was meant for something greater. That spark would one day become the light that guided millions of others. Her journey into modeling did not come through traditional means. There was no major scouting moment, no discovery in a fashion cafe. It began with a simple decision: to embrace herself as she was. When social media began opening doors for creators and models around the world, Sophie saw an opportunity not to conform, but to express. She began sharing photographs of herself online, authentic, unfiltered, and full of life. Her posts were not just about fashion, they were about freedom. Each picture told a story of a woman embracing her identity without apology. At first, she faced resistance. The digital world, as open as it seems, can also be cruel to those who challenge its norms. Comments would appear, some supportive, others harsh, some ignorant. Many could not understand how someone who did not fit the stereotypical model look could call herself one. But Sophie did not retreat. Instead, she turned their doubt into determination. She kept posting, kept smiling, and kept reminding her followers that beauty is not confined to a number, a size, or a shape. Slowly, the tide began to turn. Her authenticity began to attract attention from people across the world. Women who had once felt invisible began to see themselves through her confidence. They saw a woman who stood proudly in front of the camera, not hiding, not apologizing. The more she shared, the more her audience grew, and soon, brands began to notice. Fashion houses that had once ignored curvy models started reaching out, eager to collaborate with the woman who had become a living representation of empowerment. Sophie Hall's rise to prominence was not just fast, it was powerful. She became one of the most recognizable faces in the growing world of plus-size modeling. Her ability to combine elegance with relatability made her stand out from the crowd. She modeled for clothing lines that celebrated real women, fashion that fit bodies as they were, not as society demanded them to be. Her campaigns resonated with audiences because they did not feel like advertisements. They felt like declarations of self-love. But behind every stunning photo and captivating pose was a story of resilience. Sophie faced moments of doubt, just like anyone else. There were days when online criticism would weigh heavily, when the industry seemed too rigid, too traditional to make room for change. Yet Sophie never allowed temporary noise to silence her purpose. She used her challenges as lessons, transforming negativity into fuel. Over time, she became not just a model, but a movement, a voice for the millions who had been told they were too much or not enough. Her captions began to evolve from fashion descriptions into messages of empowerment. She spoke about the importance of mental health, about loving yourself in every season, and about the strength it takes to unlearn the insecurities society teaches you. Fans across the world found comfort in her words. Many of them commented how her confidence inspired them to wear clothes they had once avoided, to take pictures they had once feared, and to walk with pride through spaces that once made them feel small. What made Sophie truly magnetic was not only her beauty, but her transparency. She never pretended that confidence came easily. She shared her growth, her learning, her evolving self-acceptance. That honesty created a connection deeper than any influencer trend ever could. She reminded everyone that confidence is a journey, not a destination, that loving yourself takes practice, and that even strong women have quiet days. As her following expanded into the hundreds of thousands, Sophie began to receive international recognition. She was featured in multiple digital magazines, interviewed by platforms that wanted to understand the heart behind her influence. She collaborated with leading brands in swimwear, lingerie, and lifestyle fashion, always ensuring that her message of inclusivity remained at the core. For Sophie, modeling was never just about the clothes, it was about the conversation. Every collaboration was an opportunity to shift perspective, to make someone somewhere feel represented. In a modeling world that often worships perfection, Sophie stood for something else: realness. Her photo shoots were vibrant, joyful, and unapologetically feminine. Whether posing on a sunny beach or in a studio filled with laughter, she radiated a natural energy that made her presence unforgettable. Photographers often described her as magnetic, not because of her looks alone, but because she brought emotion to every frame. Off camera, Sophie is grounded and refreshingly humble. She often shares snippets of her daily life, her love for casual outfits, her sense of humor, her passion for inspiring others. She enjoys spending time with her loved ones and embraces a balanced lifestyle. For her, self-care is not about expensive routines, but about giving yourself kindness, rest, and patience. She believes that beauty begins with how you treat yourself, not how you compare yourself. Sophie's journey also mirrors a larger cultural shift happening in the fashion world. Once upon a time, diversity in modeling was limited and tokenized. But women like Sophie Hall changed that narrative, proving that inclusivity is not just a trend, it is the future. She has inspired countless upcoming models, proving that you do not need to fit into a traditional frame to shine. Through her presence, she has expanded what representation looks like on runways, campaigns, and screens across the world. Her message resonates deeply with young audiences. She often uses her platform to uplift and educate, reminding followers that true style is about confidence, not conformity. Her advice is simple but powerful, where what makes you feel beautiful, not what society expects. She encourages her fans to embrace boldness, to play with fashion as a form of expression rather than competition. That authenticity has earned her a loyal following, one that celebrates not only her outer beauty, but also the heart behind her success. Sophie Hall's influence extends beyond fashion. She advocates for kindness and respect in online communities, using her reach to counter cyberbullying and promote self-worth. She is open about the pressures of social media and encourages her fans to take breaks, seek peace, and remember that no one's life is perfect, no matter how polished the photos look. She reminds people that the most important like they will ever get is the one they give themselves. Her story also reflects a quiet rebellion against conformity. In every post, in every confident pose, Sophie challenges long-standing beliefs about what is desirable. She stands for women who have been told to shrink, to cover up, to fit in. She stands for men and women who have been made to believe that their worth depends on approval. And she does it not through loud speeches, but through presence, a calm, confident assurance that says, "You are already enough." Today, Sophie Hall continues to grow her influence not just as a model, but as a mentor and role model. She has collaborated with campaigns that highlight diversity, been featured in empowerment podcasts, and continues to inspire the next generation of creators. Her social media feed is filled with positivity, motivation, and radiant energy. She celebrates achievements, supports her peers, and consistently reminds her audience that success is not about comparison. It is about authenticity. The legacy she is building goes beyond fashion. It is about transformation. Sophie has helped reshape the way society perceives beauty. She stands as proof that when you choose authenticity over approval, you not only free yourself, you empower others to do the same. Her influence echoes in the voices of those she has inspired, in the growing representation across brands, and in every confident smile she has helped create. Sophie Hall's journey reminds us that the camera does not define a model, the courage behind the lens does. Her path from an ordinary girl in the United Kingdom to a global icon of self-love proves that when passion meets purpose, barriers fall. She is more than an influencer. She is a storyteller, a symbol of confidence, and a reminder that the world becomes brighter when we celebrate diversity. So, as we scroll through her feed, what we see is not just beauty, it is bravery. It is the courage to exist loudly, to live freely, and to love ourselves fiercely. In her world, every curve tells a story, every smile is a statement, and every post is a gentle invitation to accept the parts of ourselves we have been taught to hide. Her legacy will continue to inspire future generations of creators and dreamers. Because Sophie Hall has shown that beauty is not a standard to chase, but a truth to embrace. She reminds us that the greatest form of fashion is self-acceptance, and that confidence is not built by comparison. It is cultivated through love, patience, and pride in one's own reflection. And as her influence expands, one truth remains clear. Sophie Hall is not just changing fashion. She is changing hearts. Her name has become synonymous with empowerment, grace, and authenticity. She is proof that you can walk into any room, no matter your size, your story, or your scars, and still command it with confidence. If Sophie Hall's story inspired you to embrace your own kind of beauty, to wear your confidence like your favorite outfit, then join our growing community here on Sweet Models World. Let us continue celebrating the women and creators who are redefining what it means to be beautiful. Like this video, share it with someone who needs a reminder that their story matters, and subscribe for more inspiring journeys from the world of curvy models and fashion influencers. Because at Sweet Models World, every curve tells a story, and yours might just be the next one we celebrate.